What is going on, Savage Patriot Nation? As you can see, Jay Lee's over there coughing. And as you can see, Marlon's out. You know, he's not feeling too well. Coy's having some technical difficulties. And
So it's
Simon,
a black man and an Asian.
Yeah, the blacken is like a Tiger Woods thing here. But yeah, today we're going to talk about Jan 6 and, you know, the stuff we've been talking about, especially us on the right have been talking about for years, how we felt all this was staged.
Hey, bro, so, can we just say before we actually kick it off, we told you so.
We told you so. So stay tuned and, you know, we'll see you on the other side. Oh yeah, Jan 6, huh? We're right back to this, man. It's been an ongoing topic for many years, you know, and
quite literally many years. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. When did it happen? Yeah. Like January 6, 2020. So, you know, 3 years ago, going on 4 years ago. And they've
2021. I mean,
was it 2021?
Like yeah, because it was January 2021 because it was right after.
Right after. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, for the last, let's say 3 years, we've been getting force fed this information about how it was an insurrection and how, you know, Trump caused it. And they just been feeding this information to the masses, all this propaganda. But come to find out that there was footage, right? And we're going to show you some of that footage, but, you know, let's discuss it. You know, let's discuss it. What do you think, Jay?
What's there to discuss? We saw what happened when it went down on January 6, 2021. We all were like, oh, so it wasn't violent. Oh, wait a minute. There was gunshots and it came from the Capitol Police. Oh, wait a minute. They didn't barge in and do stuff. Yeah. Were there vandals? Yes. You know, MAGA shaman dude was, you know, I mean, he was acting like a fool. He was a clown, obviously. Yeah. Yes, we all recognize that.
But he was led around by the cops.
Right. Yeah. It was a big unauthorized tour, basically, of Congress that was promoted as to be, quote, violent just because MAGA shaman decided to put his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Like, ooh,
so
crazy.
And it's funny how, you know, politicians like AOC and others were saying they were hiding because they were so scared for their life and all this propaganda and this fear mongering. And a lot of American people believed it. And this is what we talk about on the Savage Patriots and the Hooch, you know, because, you know, we're one and the same, even though we're two separate podcasts. The propaganda is real, America.
Oh, geez.
It is real. And I can't comprehend how people still trust what's coming out of the mainstream media's mouth. Now, are they telling some truth? Yes, they have to tell you something that's a little truthful in there. They can't just be totally off the rails with whatever they're showing us. But they do twist the story depending on what side they're on. And that's right and left. You know, I'm anti-mainstream media. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch anything. I rely on independent journalism. The Tim Pools out there, the Alex Jones out there, even though he's a little coop, but I still dig the guy. Yeah. So what we've been trying to get to the American people is turn off your TV and research it. And then whatever video footage they show you, look at it and use your critical thinking skills to come up with the conclusion. Like, this doesn't look right. And this is what we were saying. A lot of people, mainly on the right, maybe some on the left, were saying something doesn't seem right about this. It just doesn't look right. Coy?
Yep. Man, my keyboard doesn't want to type. Anyway, so I just posted in the chat the full unedited videos from the Oversight Committee releasing of all of the videos. Like they have all of the the documented videos that they can release. Anyway, these are the ones that just dropped on Friday.
Okay.
Which is still crazy to me that they dropped it on a Friday where news goes to die. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know why you dropped it on a Friday, no less, before a major holiday. Yeah, like why now of all times? Like why did you do that? That's my question.
Yeah, I don't know. It was all, fear mongering, and it was a way to cause a divide between the people. Anyone with common sense could have looked at the video footage themselves and saw that the Capitol Police allowed these protesters in. You could have saw the Capitol Police move the barricades. You could have saw that there was people there to antagonize the group to get him to, act a certain way. What was his name? That guy that never got arrested, and finally they brought him in. He was the one,
the FBI agent.
Yeah, he was the one screaming like, "We're going to go to the Capitol and we're going to."
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, that guy, and it was just pretty much just common sense. But we have a video here, and
I want everybody to see like how dangerous this insurrection was.
I'm getting chills watching it. This is just.
I mean, look at all these kitted out dudes. They are so threatened.
Yes, they
by
are.
the people that just walk by. Look, they just walk on by. Just,
walk on by.
Just a casual stroll. I mean,
I think that might be like. I think that might be staffers or even the Congress people themselves because they don't look like protesters and they have no hustle. Like if this was seriously like an insurrection, you think they would have a little bit more hustle? Like, oh my God, we're going to die. That whole thing. And it's like, no, they're just casually walking.
Especially
and
the insurrectionists were armed. I mean,
yes.
Yeah. And these dudes they are not worried. No. Like they're kitted out and everything, but they're not worried. Do you see any worry on any of these people's faces?
I mean, the dude has his phone out. He's checking his TikTok and his Facebook right now, trying to see if it's getting any news coverage. But you had other politicians like that cackling hyena. What's her name? Kamala Harris.
Who
got up there. Remember, she got on that press conference and she was like, she compared Jan 6 to 9/11.
To 9/11. I know, it was so horrible. This thing that happened, and that was just the first video too. Like that was just video number 1. Like
and there's many of them out there. So you guys look at this and tell me how much violence.
These are the people that look like they got arrested, and they're just like they're all zip tied. Like, but like I said, it's like this looks so violent. They're just kind of whatever moseying along.
Look at the old lady in a flannel. I mean, she looks dangerous right there.
Like this dude does not feel any threat at all. Like the way that he's holding his weapon and everything is like he's not even holding it. He's just letting it hang. Like you have to be comfortable in a situation to not even have one hand on the rifle. Not one.
And they got
Bill, how are the kids? Where's the good?
I mean,
that's what it looks like.
It's almost like mocking the American people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To the point to where they can show the American people, not all, some, anything. They can show you anything and spin it and put a little propaganda tag on it. And they know that enough Americans don't have enough common sense and free thinking skills, literal thinking, or logical thinking to be able to comprehend what they're being shown. They just go with the narrative. And this is why you have to question a lot of the things that they show us. This is why I don't believe a lot of the things, whether it's the war in Ukraine, whether it's the war in Israel, whatever, I do not believe what they're showing us is 100% truth. I think
let's check out a new angle.
But a lot of what the mainstream media does is lie by omission. They lie by leaving out key details and crucial parts, like all of this stuff. I mean, they called it a violent insurrection, but then look, it's Jerry.
I like
Bob,
how casual everything is. Mm-hmm. Like people don't seem panicked at all. Like maybe the cops a little rushing, but that's about it. But it looks like they're doing like traffic duty at this point. It's the only thing I can equate it to is like if they were like, if you've seen most of us have seen most police videos on the internet today. You can tell the difference between a cop that's scared or intimidated than a casual, like, this is just a run of the mill everyday thing. Like, this is not a big deal.
I mean, it looks like they picked up a bunch of shoplifters in the mall.
Yeah.
You know,
That's definitely what it looks
yeah,
like.
there's nothing violent about it. And then, you know, you just got to go back to Donald Trump's rally.
See what I mean?
right?
Like, these people don't even have any hustle. They're not even like afraid. They're not running. They're just walking casually out of the building.
And
like-
you have to go back to Donald Trump's rally, how they said he edged them on. He told them to do it. And then people believe that. Even if they watch the rally and hear the words that come out of his mouth, there are some people that have that. What did you call it earlier, Jay, backstage? Cognitive dissonance, right?
Dissonance, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance. It doesn't matter what you say. And I told Jay backstage, I said, if we had a time machine, right? And you had all these people that believed this and you took them back in time and let them watch it unfold with their own eyes, they would still come back to the future and say it was a violent insurrection.
Yeah.
That's how lost a lot of people are.
It's always funny to me that like they have a gaggle of cops just like here, but they don't seem to be in any rush to do anything or go anywhere.
It looked like a drill.
Yeah, I know. That's what it reminds me of. It's a fire drill.
drill.
There's a fire drill happening in the Capitol. That's what it is.
It looked like an action. Oh, Jimmy, you stood in the wrong place. Go back to that stairwell. And I need you.
What's even
throw a
worse is they look
tantrum.
like they have no idea what they're doing.
No, they don't.
Just like skimming through any of these in any of this footage is just kind of like, what the hell, man? Just like pick one and then you can skim through it and you can see it's all the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And here's where we always say, we're always going to say it on the show. Everything is a rich man's trick. You know, if they can control the mind, they can control you. If they can control your emotions, they are in control of how you act. So people have to really, really be careful when they're watching stuff like this and don't take it all in. Use your critical thinking, think logically, not emotionally, and ask yourself if it looks right. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Use your brain because that's what they want to control. They want to control that and they throw stuff out there. And they're all pretty quiet right now. You notice it. They're not coming out saying, well, they're not.
Oh, well, there are articles saying that it's launching like wide conspiracies about January 6th. It's like, dude, you guys are the ones that spin large conspiracies about January 6th. They still say Sicknick died at January 6th and not because of natural causes, because of a heart attack. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to continue to spin it because this story is being destroyed. So now they still have to spin the fact that someone died. You know, they have to do something. They just can't come out and say, we lied. I'm sorry.
The only person that violently died that day, or maybe have violently died that day, was Ashley Babbitt. That was it. That's the only person.
And even then, we kind of
that's
sort of called that
scrutiny here. We called that out, but I mean, who knows, you know, with that. But based off of what they're showing us now, it's even hard to believe that she probably wasn't part of it. It's like my brain isn't gonna. It's all over the place. I'm like, man, maybe she was part of it. You know what I mean?
I'm struggling to find anything like of substance. Like these guys are more kitted out than what was actually going on in the Capitol. That's what I'm getting from a lot of this footage. Is like these guys had no sense of urgency or even, I don't know what's going on. What are we doing? Why is everybody here? Kind of situation. Like they don't seem like they are in danger. Do they not? No. Like being from being overseas, right, and then being deployed, I understand the look of a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Michael does too. You know when people are in a sense of urgency. This is not a sense of urgency, period.
This is lackadaisical strolls. These are like dudes taking, an afternoon stroll to Starbucks.
Yeah, this is guard duty. That's what
the shaman guy came in there, had a meditation session, and they were doing, weird things to each other.
Yeah.
But didn't Obama pass some type of executive order or law, something he wrote about propaganda is allowed?
Yeah. He said that propaganda was allowed.
Yeah. So people go, but people don't know that because people don't pay attention to what's going on. And this is why the savage patriots and people like us are here. You have to go back and look at what Obama signed. And he signed pretty much saying that propaganda is okay. It's okay to use. So now
here we
you
go. I finally found some with people in it that
so-
are supposed to be rioters.
So when you think about propaganda and him passing something like that, you have to go back and think about everything that's happened over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
You have to really look at that and be like, the little thing, propaganda.
Mhm.
All of it's propaganda. You can't trust them. If they lied about this, something that was one of the most heinous things that happened in our country within the last decade.
Yeah.
What else have they lied about?
Hey, Michael, bring up Street Talk for a second. You could bring up a good point.
Straight talk.
Yeah, if it's the comment that says if somebody died, why was nobody charged with murder?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Marlon.
Yeah, I know that. That's what's bring it up. He's commenting, or manslaughter at least. Like he's right. Like
right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Go ahead.
Or manslaughter. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about. Like if somebody died because of the riot, then why was nobody charged with that felony?
Yeah,
that's right.
None of these people were charged with that felony. They were charged with conspiracy, and conspiracy for like insurrection and like trespassing and disrupting a federal proceeding. None of these people were charged with violent crimes.
Even the interaction with this cop and these people, it's all
he's
cordial.
smiling. They're taking pictures. Look, they're laughing. Why
Thanks, buddy.
Why is that guy covered in dust? I don't know. Is that part of the the acting?
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? And there's another video clip somewhere in here, probably, of the guy. Look at him.
Fear. He's smiling.
No, of the guy where they was walking him in handcuffs and they handcuffed him on camera. Did you see that one? They uncuffed him on camera. Then the other guy that was walking by, he was dressed like one of the protesters and he flashed his badge as he went by. Did you see that one? Yeah. I mean, people just start spreading truth, man. And, if you're hated for it, if you're talked about for it, it's not going to change the truth. People can say what they want. They can call us conspiracy theories. They can call us whatever they want. The truth is the truth.
And for the folks in the chat that don't really quite know, we've used the word propaganda here about 5 or 6 times. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. And we all know that right now, the propaganda that's being spun for us to believe comes from a certain bias, anti-Trumpers, and the left, basically, liberals, lefties, to demonize, half the country.
Yeah. And there's another thing that I need to bring up with this, since we're looking at the footage. There's a lot of people that don't know about the 529 insurrection. Do you know what that was? Yeah, do you know? See, exactly. Like, even most people that are in the know don't even know what the 529 insurrection is. Do you know? Do you remember this? 529 is when far leftists firebombed St. John's Church.
Oh, yeah.
And forced Trump into a bunker in the White House. Right? An actual violent uprising in D.C. that caused the president to enter a emergency bunker.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
So I want you to take a look at the difference between this video of them actually lighting fires and breaking down barricades and lighting a church on fire versus what happened at Jan 6.
Exactly.
Night and day.
I mean, if you go back to Nashville, remember that whatever, when they went inside the Nashville Capitol or whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't call that insurrection, but it was the same thing. It was the same exact thing, but they didn't call it an insurrection. And that's when that one board member, whatever his name is, the young guy with the afro, they was going to censure him and kick him out or whatever.
Oh, the Martin Luther King wannabe?
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, remember that
guy? Yeah.
It was the same thing, right? Same exact, same everything, but it wasn't called an insurrection. Why? Because it was conducted by the left side.
Yeah. Let's go through some more of the video with everybody. So like,
Yeah.
we can let's see if we can find some really violent
Yeah,
actions.
I
Oh,
wanna
look, it's empty
see some-
hallway
I want to see
for
some
about 10
violence.
minutes. 10 minutes of empty hallway. I'm looking for violence. I'm not finding any. Did
No.
anybody light anything on fire in the Capitol? Like, whatever happened to? Okay, here's another question. Whatever happened to the bombs they supposedly found at the RNC and DNC offices?
Wait, they were talking about bombs?
Yes. Everybody seemed to have forgotten about that one.
I don't
What
know.
happened to the bombs that were supposedly there
Yeah.
at these places that just magically disappeared? Nobody ever got arrested for. Nobody ever mentioned or talked about again. They just kind of went boof. Like the Las Vegas shooter, right? What happened to him? Like, what happened to that case? What was his thing? Why was he killing that many people in Vegas? Like, what
Why
was the
aren't we
deal?
hearing anything else about it?
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's just disappeared, and this will disappear. You'll see. They will
look,
stop
there's the
talking
shaman.
about Jan. Yeah, they will stop talking about Jan 6. They will.
Yeah. I am so glad that our boys in blue protected us from the most violent uprising since 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, oh man, it's so.
I
they're
am
thanking
so
the
glad.
officers.
Yeah, I am
Oh
so
my
glad
God.
they resisted arrest as they walked out peacefully
Mm-hmm.
out of the building, not even being
Mhm.
escorted, not even being arrested, just being let out of the building.
Yes, and BB's right. You know, BB's right. A lot of them were plants. A lot of them
We know they
placed
were.
there. And it's coming out, I think, when they asked the FBI director, Ray, they
Mhm.
asked him about that. And he
How
was
many?
like, I
And he
don't know
refuses.
about that. Yeah, who wants to listen to the J. Edgar Hoover FBI director?
Let's see,
They're all
let's see if we can
liars,
find some more
man.
violence.
You just got to know this. And they're going to amp it up the closer we get to election
I
time,
think
if
the only
election
time
even
that
happens.
there were violence is where there were no security cameras, and the only people that documented it were certain reporters in the crowd that documented it, following certain people.
I mean, people forget that Nancy Pelosi was going out with a camera crew to safety, and it was being documented the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they
because her
put on-
daughter knew exactly when to be and where to be
Yeah,
with the
because she
documentary
knew-
crew.
She knew it
Ooh,
all to
that's-
go on a documentary. You know, you have to question stuff like that. A
Yeah.
real insurrection, if that was a real insurrection, that building probably would have been burned into the ground if they really, really was getting down like that. But they weren't. I mean, we can go back to the old footage. Like, you know, we always tell you, they were letting these people in the barricades. They were letting
them
in.
out.
They were
Yeah.
letting them out. There was no violence. These guys didn't push a barricade. They just opened it up. Like, come on in, guys.
They just walked right through. I'm glad they're like, you saw all those other cops we saw in the beginning, all the kitted out cops, and like none of them are here. They're not doing anything. They're just lazing about. I am so glad this was like they protect us from so much violence. So much violence. that was
Like
here.
if we really want to talk about an actual insurrection, like Bro said, not only would the place have been burning, but the cops would have been overwhelmed by the amount of people that would have come through. But based on this footage, this is nothing more than a casual stroll through downtown. Literally.
Yeah. As we're saying, I mean, we're going through all the footage like together with everybody in chat, and like there's what do you see? Nothing.
Yep.
Literally nothing. There's empty hallways, people just walking around, no sense of urgency, no sense of worry or fear of anything happening, of anything bad happening. Nobody was there to take over the government. Nobody was there to cause an issue. They got in and they were surprised they got in. That's what happened. This is people that are like, wow, I can't believe that like we got inside. Let's go look around while we're in here. You know, that was it. They, like you said, it's an unrestricted tour. That's all it was. It was like they took a tour, they went around. This is cool. Look at this place, and then they walked out.
Exactly.
I mean,
That's all they did.
I mean, I'll be honest, guys. Like, I am bored out of my mind, like watching this. Like
Yeah.
I would much rather have seen an actual insurrection happen. That way, I could actually, be excited about the direction that people.
We could just go over all of 2020's riot footage instead, if you wanted to.
I mean,
more
hey,
excited
because I'm sitting here and I'm told to believe, and I'm being forced to think that all of this footage right here is a violent insurrection that was on the
I know they
verge
were
of
going to overthrow the U.S.
hostile
government. Oh
takeover.
my gosh!
But I'm
Yep.
looking at this and I'm like I'm trying to hold in the yawn so I can respect the platform. But
Oh, here we go. Now we have something.
It's violent because it happened to the suit and tie. You know,
that's right.
That's why it's violent. That's why they call it violent, because they think they are superior, and things like this aren't supposed to happen to the overlords. So it's violent. But when violent acts happen in neighborhoods during the summer of love, and people's buildings were getting burnt down, and people's homes and businesses, and people were getting murdered and hurt, peaceful protest. You see?
Yeah.
You see how propaganda works?
You know what I'm thinking? So this is all COVID policy, right? At this time, every single one of these people are having to wear masks.
That's right.
I think the majority of the supposed injuries that police officers sustained was probably heat-related injuries or like inability to breathe because of the masks.
Hypoxia is a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
Like I think maybe a lot of these people had hypoxia, fell down, and cracked their heads on something. Like,
can we see that footage at least? Yeah,
because like look. Did you see this guy in the corner over here who's having a hard time breathing?
Yep.
Yeah, this dude is having a hard time and all that. Like he's in full kit. He's got his vest on. He's got the mask on. I'm sure that's not a fun time to breathe in. I know it's not a fun time to be fully kitted out with vest and a gas mask. I know that shit sucks every single time. And if you're in MOP 3, that's even worse.
Right.
And I know that stuff gets hot. So I couldn't imagine these guys being in full kit with masks on, and they can't even take them off because it's stupid. And we know it's stupid. Even now, we're like, yeah, but you shouldn't have been wearing those.
Being
like,
tour escorts.
Yeah.
As you navigate through social media and your life out there, if anybody even mentions insurrection, don't debate them, because you're losing brain cells. There's no reason to even talk to people about it that still talk about it like that, because the footage is real. And
all they did was push these dudes back and then shut the door. That was it. That's it. And they pushed the dudes back and then they shut the door. Like the hell. So
it's the propaganda is real out there, and they're gonna ramp it up the closer we get to the election season. It's gonna ramp up, and you're gonna see more and more propaganda, but people need to understand what to believe and what not to believe. You figure it out
yourself, man.
That is up to you to figure out what you believe and what you don't. We're just here to help you dissect it and show you the truth. This isn't an opinion, what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
We're showing you exactly what happened. So you use your own mind and look at it and decide, is it violent? Is it? It's not.
I mean, I'm still struggling to find anything violent. That I literally want to see violence now, just because I want to be able to say, hey, there's one. You know what I mean? But if this was like the leftists, like they would be yelling and screaming and like throwing things at these cops, because that's what they do every time they're in black.
There would be windows broken. There would be property damage. There'd be. Yeah. We would probably be seeing smoke like float into this footage right now if it was a leftist demonstration. But this is a bunch of boring Trump supporters just literally doing...
Like these cops are bored. Every single one of these dudes are bored. Like they're they're barricading the doors, but like they look bored. They look like they don't even want to be there. Every single one of them. They have no sense of worry.
You know what's funny is that they're barricading that door right there. You see it? Now look at the two doors to the left.
I know they're completely open. It's just that one right there. Like I said, like they had a room full of cops in here, and then now they're just all going away.
We'll just put this here, and we're going to walk away. But the other doors, we're going to leave them wide open. Got to make it look good for the camera.
I'm glad this guy is. He's really protecting himself from COVID.
Yeah.
Hindsight here. He was like fully into it. I'm going to keep COVID out of here.
Look at this guy just walking around. He must be the supervisor. Like, hey, everything good over here, fellas? You all right? Need some water?
He has a supervisor haircut right there.
Hey, we got pizza in the break room.
After this is all over, we got drinks.
We got some hot boxes in the break room after this.
All right. Listen, I'm gonna keep trying to find some. I'm already at the end of the page, like at
Yeah,
page 5,
there's-
and I still haven't found anything.
Now, the only thing that they can kind of twist and say was violent was the initial part. When you remember where you saw everybody at the windows and they were kind of breaking the windows out.
Yeah,
But
I think those
are
were agent provocateurs.
those are plants because those windows are supposed to be like, bulletproof, pretty
Like
much.
glass.
Yeah, and they were just breaking them out. So, and there were people even up there. They don't talk about the people that were trying to stop the guys breaking it.
Yeah.
They don't
Or
talk
even
about
Alex
those guys.
Jones that was out there with his bullhorn going, "Do not go into the Capitol. It's a trap." The only guy that's going, "It's a trap." And they're like saying that he was the one provoking the violence on January 6th. The guy that was bullhorning saying, "Don't go in. It's a trap."
And, Coy and I actually have a friend that got locked up for that.
Yeah.
I know a guy that got locked up for that too.
Yeah. And he's serving time right now over propaganda. You see,
Well, I think this is where they finally got in, because it's hard to tell like when everything was, because like it was empty and then it was pooled. Maybe this is like before they pushed everybody out. So I'm trying to think of the timeline.
Right there, that's when they were gathering them all together. They were like, "All right, fellas, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take you on your tour right now. Just gather around. Okay, follow me. Look at this."
I think this is when they first were in, and then they pushed them all out towards the end. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Even then, it's like it's super violent.
It's so dangerous. Look at it. They're talking to the cops, and their backs are turned. The cops are just standing there. Some of them are on alert, as you should be in uniform, but
yeah,
they're not really.
They're just making a human wall to like usher people.
No, I saw a punch. I saw.
Where?
Wait.
Did you see
was there a punch? Did somebody get hit with one of the flags?
No, there was nothing.
Man.
I'm trying to make
Get
stuff
me
up.
excited for nothing. But yeah, look! I love how they're just moseying on. Like they're literally at a ride at Six Flags, dude.
Yeah,
that's what this reminds me of. They're standing in line at Six Flags.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus,
I'm supposed to believe this was a violent insurrection.
Yes,
this is a violent insurrection.
If I deny that this was violent, if this was anything but violent, I'm the idiot. Like,
yeah,
wow.
But you got a lot of these politicians out there that were like talking this crap about how violent Jan 6 was. They're probably with their little
all
think
of the
tank.
windows are intact.
They're probably with their little think tanks right now, trying to figure out how to spin it. You know what I mean? Especially AOC, who wasn't even there.
Just a mile and a half away, wasn't she?
There you go. I might have skimmed through everything, but you've basically seen everything that was released.
Yeah,
that was it. That was literally it.
Now, we didn't see anything violent. Agreement, right?
Yeah,
nothing.
I think we need to contrast it with what happened in 2020.
Yeah,
the riots.
Yeah, the so-called riots. But people got to understand, when you turn on Fox News, and I get a lot of people watch the news. I get it. You think you're being informed, but you're not really being informed, because a lot of it's opinion, and they'll tell you that this is their opinion. This is why whenever they talk about something that makes like really major news, when they're wrong, they have to come back and retract it. So just understand that these people are getting secondhand information that are just giving you this information. They're going to spin it how they want to spin it. And at that time, we were doing a recount of the vote, and they had to spin it to make it look what Donald Trump caused to affect that recount. But now the truth is out. So it makes you think like everything, and which we know the answer to this already, everything that they're saying about Trump, is it true? You have to question it, right? You have to question everything now,
because they're all lying to you.
Yeah. Everything that comes out of their mouth, you have to question it. That's like, how come when you interact with people outside of the media, your daily life, and someone lies to you, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever trust them again? Anything that comes out of their mouth? No.
You're hard pressed to trust them again.
Yeah, me too. But you don't. So why do we keep trusting the media when they've lied to us multiple times? Why do people keep trusting them?
Because Don Lemon's black and he's gay. That's why we keep trusting them.
Well, the media, they're the experts. What made them the experts? Who made them the experts?
Well, let's check in on the media. I got a video from the Telegraph from from 2020. And I want you to notice the difference between the police interactions here versus the Capitol, and how they're presenting themselves, and how they're holding weapons to defend themselves. or the fact that an NYPD vehicle is on fire.
Now, this is a leftist protest.
Yeah. So, Jan 6 is an insurrection. This is not.
This is a peaceful protest.
Mostly peaceful protest.
Mostly peaceful. There was remember that one clip where the reporter was like,
and my black women being shot, being killed by the NYPD. I'm tired of it. I have 3 black men in my home. I'm tired. I am tired.
Even then, they were like, they've been peaceful, but there are some violent tendencies. Yeah, firebombing police cars, dude.
yep.
Like, they want to convince you that January 6th was the most dangerous insurrection the world has ever seen, but this is not. Everything that they did in 2020 during the summer, and even forcing Trump into a bunker, is not an insurrection. The fact that they took over 2, not 1, 2 different city centers and police stations and firebombed federal buildings, the federal courthouses, those were not insurrections either. They were mostly peaceful. Mostly
look at the recent protests with this Palestine and Israel.
Yeah.
Outside of the White House. You know what I mean? But it was a peaceful protest, you know, but Jan 6, oh God. They were in there just
I mean, these guys are on edge.
Yeah, see, this isn't an insurrection. Your lying eyes are telling you this is not an insurrection, even though this is happening literally outside of the White House. This is not an insurrection. It's a mostly peaceful protest. Okay? Don't get it confused with January 6th.
Like
If you would have told somebody this is January 6th, it'd be like, okay, that makes sense. But then you're like, no, that's not. That's actually 5/29 when they were outside of the White House.
Yep. And you know, hopefully everybody that's involved that lied, especially the FBI and these congressmen and senators that lied to the American people,
They
need to
can't
be held.
kill us all. You see that?
It's compliance. But if you don't speak up, that's also violence.
So hopefully everyone that's involved, from the FBI to the Congress to the senators to the president to the vice president, everyone is held accountable, should be held accountable.
Yep.
When the next president gets in there, hopefully it's, you know, the Don gets in there, he needs to sign in that propaganda is illegal.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
A small number of people in the scheme of things
Here we go,
protesting
this
to
dude.
begin with, very few of whom committed acts of violence, but that few was systematic in their efforts to harm police officers and to create damage to police vehicles.
Not an insurrection. Remember, this is not an insurrection.
Mostly peaceful.
To storefronts, to other property. And again, that's not going to get us anywhere. But now it is time for people to go home.
Oh, look at that. He was calling for people to go home, just like Donald Trump, but he's not being put as an insurrectionist.
Nope.
Not an insurrectionist. No, it wasn't the fact that all these people were egged on by the likes of like Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, and all the other Democrats were saying, well, I'm not surprised there's not more uprisings happening.
That's right.
Well, they were advocating for violence and encouraging violence in the streets in America all throughout 2020.
Yep.
That's not an insurrection.
Get in their faces, make them uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Tell them they don't belong.
They don't belong. You know, they will pay all this other stuff, but that's not violence. But Donald Trump gets up there and says, do not, whatever he said, we are peaceful protest. He kept saying peaceful, do not, blah, 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 blah. That's a violent protest. That's how propaganda works.
Yeah, you can see it all throughout
The
2020.
political power in Washington, D.C. Security agents used tear gas to push protesters away from the White House. New York's iconic streets were littered with the debris of rage over the death of George Floyd, but also giving...
Not January 6th.
No.
Not January 6th.
Look at that.
All of this is over a questionable death that still keeps proving itself to not be what they said it was.
Yeah,
exactly. With proof and facts and documents. But will they look at that? This is what I was saying earlier about the left. You can show them, you can put them on the scene, take them back in time, let them see for themselves. They still won't believe it because
they
don't want to.
destroyed, they burned, and they murdered people throughout that entire summer.
David Dorn, ring a bell, folks?
Yeah.
What about that retired cop?
Yeah, David Dorn.
Yeah, David Dorn.
Yeah, David Dorn, the black guy. Yep. But you know,
or the kids that got shot in the chop, right? The 15-year-old and the 12-year-old that were just joyriding around, went into the wrong spot at chop and got shot with an AK. Nobody called for restricting guns then or stopping this autonomous zone that was happening. Nobody cared about those kids. Nobody cared about those poor black kids, mind you, that was probably shot by a white leftist.
Hang on a second. Wasn't the Summer of Love all about Black Lives Mattering?
Yeah. But they didn't care about those black kids that got shot in a liberal zone.
That was Black Lives.
Yeah. Gotcha. It wasn't the right Black Lives. That's the problem. It wasn't the right narrative. It was, as they could like to call it, it was malinformation. It was harmful but true information.
Exactly.
That's a legit
propaganda.
That is a legit category that they have invented.
Oh yeah, for sure. I believe it.
To censor people is malinformation, truthful but harmful information.
Yep. And you notice how they do it to a lot of mainly people on the right, social media posts. Misinformation. But the minute the media does it on the world stage, they don't get called out for it unless we do it. People like us do it that are actually paying attention to what's really going on. But they won't take their stuff off the line. You know what I mean? Because they're all in it together.
Like I said, see the difference between the responses of January 6th with police and the riots in 2020? Yeah. Completely different. These dudes,
they're on edge.
Ready for stuff.
Yeah.
These dudes are ready. The cops we saw in those footage, like raw footage, unedited footage from January 6th, did not look like this. They were kitted in the same stuff, but they had no sense of urgency. These guys, on the other hand, do.
They're on high alert.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we just want people to just pay attention to what they're showing you. Everything is used to corrupt the minds of the American people. Everything is this side or that side, and people just believe whatever is thrown out there. It don't matter if you're left or right. I don't care. We are searching for the truth. You guys know how we operate on this podcast. Though we lean right, we are conservatives, but we will call someone on the right out just as fast as we call out someone on the left, because right is right. Period.
And Susan brings up a good point. If you want to bring her comment up, I don't remember the Republicans doing anything about the Summer of Love, and you're right, they didn't. One of the reasons they didn't is because of how the optics would have looked if Donald Trump would have sent out the National Guard to quell what the Democrats have already put as an uprising.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's going to suppress innocent protesters, not rioters, not insurrectionists, protesters. If he would have done that, he would have given them nothing but a field day for coverage for weeks about how Donald Trump was suppressing riots and lawful assembly of the people and violating their First Amendment rights. That's all you would have heard every single day.
And, you know, the way the media works, like Coy said, they would have spun it saying that he's against black people. He's just going showing that he's a true racist. He hates Black Lives Matter and all this other mumbo jumbo. So, yeah, you know, I'm glad he didn't do anything about it because he was already going through enough, you know, at the time.
Yeah.
Or the Republicans were. So, you know, hey, they want to burn it down, let them burn it down. But don't sit up here and say this was peaceful and the other one was really violent, like some 9/11 violence, because it wasn't.
I'm glad that I can look at these videos and see, oh yeah, no, that was totally January 6th, right? They were like looting and burning and no, that wasn't January 6th. That was in all of the different areas where the lefties were protesting peacefully. It's just video upon video upon video of them.
I mean, when Jan 6 first happened, I remember, you know, I was going through all these videos, and there was this one video that was going around, and I think they tried to hide it, but it actually showed Antifa members changing into Trump attire.
I think I saw a video. Of
Yeah,
that
you
too,
saw that changing into Trump
did.
attire. And then the guy was filming him.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they ran up to him. He was like, "Turn the camera off, delete the footage." But they were actually changing. They were in their black block.
Yeah, I remember seeing
And
that.
you saw him putting on like a Trump hat, and they put on like scarves, and he was putting on all this Trump gear. So how come they don't talk about that either? You know, a lot of these people that were at Jan 6, even though we know it's staged, a lot of these people were paid agitators, just like Antifa. Antifa, they get paid to do this. This has been proven. So how do you know Antifa, which I believe it could have been Antifa with a bunch of other informants, weren't paid to dress like Trump and go in here and do what they did?
Yeah.
Got to read
And that's the
between
thing.
lines.
We still have no idea how many feds were at January 6th.
Oh, we're going to find out.
You remember a certain somebody too. I'm going to bring this up, Politico.
Oh, yeah.
You remember this brilliant bit of journalism here?
All right, I'm pulling it up.
Feds charge Jan 6 protester. I like how he's a protester,
Mm-hmm.
and not a rioter or an insurrectionist as they put on everybody else. He's a protester. Jan 6 protester at center of unproven hard right conspiracy theories. Ray Epps.
Yeah, and now you see the wordplay. You know, people got to understand the wordplay. You know, they twist and turn words without saying the truth. So, like Coy said, instead of calling him an insurrectionist like the rest of them that they locked up, he was a protester, and people calling him out, they're conspiracy theorists, even though there was video footage of him there.
Yeah,
but people still won't believe it. It's
you
crazy to me.
This is here you go. You want to know what they charged him with too? I think we might have covered this, but I want to bring it up again. A former Oath Keeper member from Arizona, Ray Epps, was charged in U.S. District Court on Washington with one misdemeanor count of disruptive or disorderly conduct in a restricted area.
Didn't they lock up one of the Proud Boys for not even being there though?
Yeah, they locked up Enrique Tarrio for a text message that said not to go anywhere. And this dude is on camera telling people to go into the Capitol and egging people on, and even at the sight of them tearing down the barricades, is only getting charged with a misdemeanor. He's only going to get a fine, whereas the other guys, like the Proud Boys, are getting 20 plus years, basically life in prison.
Yeah, and you see how this works. So this is why people think Ray Epps was a plant.
He has
Because
to be.
there was too much screaming and yelling about this guy, so they had to do something for optics. They're like, "Oh, we got to do something," you know. So they do this little trial, whatever, give him just the bare minimum, which he's not going to serve any time for. But then they can come out and say, "Oh, we did charge Ray Epps. We did."
Yeah.
So it's all optics. This is why everybody's thinking Ray Epps is a plant. Why did it take them so long?
They only charged him because they had to get him with something for people to shut up. That was it. That was literally it.
But one misdemeanor. I mean, it's like apples and oranges, though. It's like
not even the most strictest one either. It's like he got a barely trespassing. It's like you weren't supposed to be there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that was it.
I know speeding tickets that cost more.
I know. It's so crazy. Like I need to find the video of him. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so understand that propaganda is real, America. It's real.
You have to see why we say that it doesn't make sense that this dude's getting trespassing when all the other people are getting conspiracy charges for insurrection.
Yeah, and they're your focus, and they're violating the.
That's Ray Epps.
Doesn't matter. We're not. You're right. We're not. But the cops are.
Cops is not a cop. No, they just got to represent the Constitution.
Constitution is what it's about.
Yeah, he's a fraud.
Oh, and that's another guy that just recently got convicted too.
And now look who he's standing next to.
What? Yeah. Undercover agent type shit.
He talks like an undercover agent. You see what I mean? Like, listen to, you have to listen to, and this is why I preach being very observant. Just listen to the words that are coming out of his mouth. He's using buzzwords, right? He's using words that he thinks these people want to hear. Just listen. And it's so obvious. I don't know. It's obvious to me, at least. It's very obvious.
It's obvious to people that actually use the brain and common sense.
Yeah, there's that.
When BLM and Antifa are burning down our cities and destroying our country,
it doesn't matter right now.
Yes, it does. That's breaking the Constitution.
It does not matter right now.
That's breaking the
You're
Constitution.
losing focus.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
How? You don't know
you're
me.
fighting with me.
I'm not fighting with you. I'm just debating.
You're wanting to beat somebody up. It's not worth it, man.
When did I ever say that?
Constitution.
I never said I want to beat anyone up.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with
I
you.
want to stand up for our rights. I agree with you. I agree with you.
But tonight,
I know.
In fact, tomorrow, I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested.
Well, let's not say it.
We need to go. I'll say it.
All right.
We need to go in.
Shut the fuck up, Boomer.
To the Capitol.
Let's go. Base Fed posting. All right. We need to go in.
Everybody in that moment knew that guy was a Fed.
Yeah, and like I said, just listen to him. And you notice the minute he said that, what'd he do real quick? He scurried off.
Yeah,
he didn't sit there. He ran off. He was like, I said what I said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was obvious. Just listen to the way some of these instigators, these plants talk. They use terminology that they think is going to win the people over. He kept throwing out the word, the Constitution. You know, if he throws it out, it's wordplay. Yeah. Oh, the Constitution, yeah, you know, but people weren't buying it. They weren't.
Honestly, I think this has been a very, very poignant lesson on the notion of being critical thinkers, because everything from watching raw footage of the most violent insurrection in American history compared to the most peaceful protests 2020 has to offer, and just listening to a Fed, I think this has been a fantastic lesson on adopting actual critical thinking skills, because I mean we're sitting here watching it in real time, and if cognitive dissonance and illogical emotionalism hasn't grabbed a foothold on any of us, then I think critical thinking is definitely a must-have if you're going to survive the next couple of years.
Yeah. Honestly, Ray Epps is kind of the conclusion to all of this, right? Is how they are lying to you. So here's the other thing. There's a couple other videos I wanted to bring up with this of Ray Epps. As soon as Congress starts speaking, we go into the Capitol. Why?
Exactly.
Why? These people don't know and don't care about that. Why are you directing them to go into the Capitol specifically when Congress is speaking? Why? Because that's interrupting a proceeding, an official proceeding. That's the crime that these people are being charged with, specifically, which was led by that man who is only getting a trespassing misdemeanor charge. He's not getting 20 years. He's not getting conspiracy. He's not getting insurrection charges. He's getting a less than a trespassing.
And fine. Something else you have to ask yourself is, why is all the focus, though we're talking about Reyes, but you notice the cameras are on him and they're filming and they're doing all this stuff, but nobody's really paying attention to him. He's trying, but nobody's really listening to him. Then if you go back to the footage, I think he was at the Capitol, but he never went in. I don't think he
No, that's coming up next here. Keep watching.
Capitol's this direction.
He's directing people to the Capitol.
Capitol, where our problems are. It's that direction. He spread the word.
Now look at him.
And this is the one that really gets the cake right here. Is he whispers something to this dude, and this is when all of the action starts. He is the main perpetrator in the Capitol being breached.
Now look, they're pushing and pulling,
and he disappears off to the side.
There he goes. Boom.
The man caught on video, literally.
Yeah. I mean, you see it for yourself, dude. Like this guy is not getting anything. So you saw exactly what the footage was on January 6th. It was the most violent thing you've ever seen in your life. And the mostly peaceful protests of 2020 are what they want you to believe is true. And they want you to believe that the worst thing since 9/11 is January 6th. All of that is a lie. And we've proven that today. We've shown that to you, to your face. Like, if you still believe January 6th was violent or it was an insurrection, I do not know how to help you.
No.
I don't.
So.
I just don't know how to help you. Because that like this is all truth. This is all fact. This is everything you need to see.
Honestly, at this point, if I'm going to build on Coy's point. If you still are thinking along those lines, you deserve to be bullied. I'm sorry. You deserve to be bullied.
You deserve to be bullied. Yeah. Like I said, it's insane to me that there are still people that believe this nonsense, but they won't open their eyes. They won't actually see the truth for what it is. No. Don't believe your lying eyes.
And they never will. That's the problem with our country these days is no one wants the truth because it'll destroy their whole reality. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things out there that if they actually looked it up and found out it was true, they wouldn't believe it because it'd destroy their whole reality. Everything they talked about, everything they stood about, that they stood behind. If they came out and said, wow, they did lie, it would destroy the whole fabric of their reality.
Yeah.
This is why they don't do it.
Yep. Billions of dollars, at least 30 lives, was mostly peaceful. January 6th, where the only person that may have died was Ashley Babbitt.
And maybe $1,000 worth of damage?
Yeah. Maybe, if that. And somebody put their feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk, what made her go, ew.
Yeah, somebody grabbed the podium.
Put his feet on my desk.
Oh, my God. Oh, that was so violent, But at the end of the day, we just have to really, really be very careful about what we watch. And it's not just the news, it's TV in general. Everything that we see, everything that we watch that is considered mainstream has some form of propaganda in it. So you just have to be very careful, especially with this younger generation, man, because their minds are still fragile. So you have to be very careful what they watch and what you're showing them, because things like this will taint their mind. And you get a lot of young Gen Z kids who actually think there was an insurrection and there wasn't.
Yeah.
So just call a spade, man, and show people the truth. And don't debate anybody that still believes it. Just they're gone. Let them go. Let them believe what they want to believe. Let them live in their own little world. It's not your job to change their mind. Changing someone's mind cannot be forced. You can show them, but it's up to the individual to actually believe it or not. So,
yep.
Too true.
All right. So it's a great episode. So just pay attention. We have another one coming up Wednesday. We'll get back to you guys. Marlon should be back. And then, of course, the rest of the week, Thanksgiving. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Give thanks for everything you have, everything you receive. Eat well. Share pictures on, my Bro Kitchen page. I love to see food. And it's going to be a great week because more and more is going to come out and we'll just pick up some more topics. With that being said, follow our link tree. I think Coy's probably going to put it in the chat.
Yeah,
you guys can go there for more content. And we're streaming on Twitter, Kick, iTunes, Spotify. We're all over the place.
All right.
You can, mainly the Hooch. We're trying to get the Savage Patriots over to iTunes and Spotify and all this, but you can't catch the Hooch if you don't want to watch the video footage. Make sure you share this with your friends. We keep telling you guys are what helps get our voices out there. We only can do so much within the realm of our reach on social media. It's with our viewers who help share the link and share video clips and share. And if you have any suggestions, you guys have our email, savagepatriots@gmail.com. And email us something, let us know. And we'll look at it and we'll research and get a discussion on, because we just love it. We love giving information to you guys.
Oh yeah, there's one more thing I was going to share. So those that use Reddit or like using that, you can go over to our subreddit at the Hooch Podcast and you can post memes or other stories or things you want us to see, and just very generously, hang out, chill, look at the memes, just post whatever you want in there.
We also have merch. We got merch.
Yeah, I just finally got access to the TikTok shop, so I haven't figured out it all yet, but we're working on that. We're trying to get it over to TikTok too. So for all our people that are from TikTok that are watching, we're trying to get a TikTok shop. So look for that and buy some of our merch. The holidays are coming up. You know,
There you go. There you go.
Do it. But anyways, Jay, take us out.
So like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all Wednesday. Peace.